Since the new Thomas TV series is coming this year, an idea bubbled in my brain. What if I did a prediction video on the upcoming TV series? But then I thought, let's turn it up, and instead of me predicting, why not see what AI can come up with? A quick disclaimer from me, I do not take credit for anything AI comes up with, as these aren't my predictions but AI's. Furthermore, I do not encourage the use of AI for exploitation, such as cheating in coursework or using it to replace your own creativity completely. However, using it for stuff like research or to aid in brainstorming is fine. For this, I'm going to use ChatGPT. I will be asking it questions and make it generate photos on what its predictions are for the upcoming project. This is going to be interesting. Let's dive in. Welcome to ChatGPT. Thank you. Boom, there we go. Let's start with the first question. We can make an informed prediction based on how past and current Thomas series have been structured. All Engines Go stuck with the 26 per episode thing that a lot of the past seasons did. Thomas shows on Paramount Plus historically had around 26 episodes in many seasons and occasionally more in special cases. Yeah, Thomas season 10 and 20, instead of having 26 episodes, they had 28 episodes. Prediction 20 to 30 episodes per season. This fits the traditional 26 episode structure many recent Thomas adaptations have used. Why this range? Children animated TV series often target around 22 to 26 short episodes per season. That's true. However, on some, I'd say they do about 30 to 40 episodes, some of them even pushing for 50. If structured more like a special event streaming season, it could be slightly shorter, 20 to 24, or somewhat longer, 30, but unlikely to exceed 30. Most likely estimate 26 episodes per season. So ChatGPT's prediction is roughly the standard amount of episodes as the usual amount, 26 episodes. Yes, based on how the Thomas and Friends has been structured for decades, it's very likely that a 2026 TV series will feature a core main cast of characters. Small core group around 6 to 10 engines, potential for newcomers or slight lineup refresh, yet like they did in the Big World Big Adventures era, even though it was executed pretty poorly, let's be honest. Predicted main cast, 8 to 10 characters. Thomas, obviously. Percy, as is his best friend. James, yeah, I can see them. Over the years, Percy and James have been pushed to be like the second and third biggest characters of the show, as like your second and your third main characters, if that makes sense. I don't think they are, as Thomas standalone is your main character. But if they were to ever have like secondary characters, which would be like main characters if Thomas wasn't a thing, then James and Percy would probably be their biggest and most obvious picks. Emily, fair enough. Edward, yeah, definitely, you need a mentor figure. I don't see how they would write many episodes around him, because with how Edward's character is, there isn't many story ideas. However, that doesn't mean he can't be a main character though, as he's probably gonna have a lot of supporting roles if he was selected. Henry, thoughtful and steady. Gordon, the big express engine. Toby. So what it's saying, the most likely picks for characters if there was going to be a main cast are the usual 8. There could be a chance where they expand it beyond 8 characters, where Rosie could be a main, Nia and Rebecca. Part of me thinks that in this new TV series, they're not really going to have all that much. Why this core works, familiar faces. Yeah, it's been the characters who you've associated with it for a long time now. Even in the classic era when it wasn't set up as a main cast, but it was still most of the characters you'd associate with when you think of Thomas. So in conclusion, a main cast of 8 to 10 characters with the obvious picks: Thomas, Percy, James, Emily, Edward, Henry, Gordon and Toby. What ifs could include Rosie and Nia. Why didn't they mention Rebecca? I'm surprised they didn't mention Rebecca there. So for AI's prediction, the usual 8 characters will be the main cast. What the hit era and nitrogen era criticisms mean. In fan communities, the hit era seasons out to 12 and nitrogen era seasons 13 to 16 are often referenced as periods when stories became more repetitive, predictable or shallow compared with the classic series. Yes, that's true. Stories were pretty pathetic, let's be honest. Plot logic sometimes seemed simplistic or gimmicky, with characters acting in ways fans consider out of characters. Again, pretty correct. Episodes could feel less grounded in real-world railroading and more like contrived setups that exist just to create conflict or visuals. So when people describe episodes as nonsensical, they usually mean they feel loosely plotted, repetitive, lightweight compared to older, more coherent storytelling. Yeah, that is more or less what we mean. They're basically just stupid stories with the most ridiculous things happening. My prediction for a 2026 series: simple and kid-friendly but not truly nonsensical. Okay. Past Thomas errors that were heavily criticised for writing, like Hit and Nitrogen Error, have shown creators what not to repeat. If producers take fan and parent feedback into account, they may aim for tighter storytelling. About that, I'm not too sure, because if criticisms have taught the companies what to do and what not to do, then chances are they would have learnt their lessons far sooner. For example, the 3-strike formula error, seasons 8 to 16, more than enough seasons, more than enough time, more than enough years for the company in charge to know what to do and what not to do. It took them 9 years to go from repetitive, nonsensical 3-strikes formula stories to then switch to stories where it began to have actual realism in. So you're saying that you mean to tell me that past criticism actually influenced them to change their decisions? They had 9 years to do that. And let's not forget about the Big World, Big Adventures era. When Mattel came in, they were aware of what Thomas's appeal was. Realism writing, grounded storytelling. Some of it might have been a bit nonsensical from time to time, but it was to a grounded extent. So when the Big World, Big Adventures era came around and the All Engines Go era, there was no excuses. I don't know about that. If the new series aims to appeal to both young children and nostalgic older fans, the writing might avoid extremes, neither overly random nor overly complex, so it may feel more conventional than past Trouble eras. So overall, AI's conclusion of this question is, will the episodes be nonsensical? Not much. There might be. Stories may still feel very simple or formulaic, but that's common in preschool animation. There's nothing wrong with a simple story, as long as it doesn't talk down to their audience, and as long as the more or less concept of it isn't stupid, then at that point there isn't anything wrong with a slow slice of life or simple story. Extreme plots that make no sense even in show logic seems less likely if they're trying to win back their older fans. If they're trying to win back their older fans, then they would have to not be nonsensical. Us Thomas fans don't expect perfection, but we just want good stories. We just want what's best for the franchise that we know and love. And that goes for old and new fans. The 2026 series might not be 100% clear of nonsensical. There might be bits sprinkled here and there, but overall AI doesn't think that it will be everywhere like the Hit era did and the Nitrogen era. I'm surprised it isn't mentioning the Big World, Big Adventures era, because that also is another example of complete nonsensicalness. Specifically stating there would not be a traditional narrator, marking a break from prior series narration styles. This comes from someone involved in the project, noting the creative direction is focused on action and fun, without exposition from a narrator like in the old shows. Many fans predict or hope a narrator will return. I certainly will. I would still like to have a narrator. It's a core part of what makes Thomas and Friends, well, Thomas and Friends. Especially familiar voices like Mark Morgan, who has narrated many recent Thomas episodes and specials, or other classic narrators. If there was any narrator that was to return to the show at this part of time, then I would probably say Mark Morgan. What we know, an early comment from someone tied to the production implies no narrator in the new format. What we don't know yet, there has been no official press release confirming the narrative style of the 2026 series. Example, whether there will be a voiceover narration at all or if stories will rely solely on character dialogue and visuals. Details about voice talent and format have not been formally published by Mattel Studios or a broadcaster. Prediction based on patterns plus available info. The statement by a production figure about dropping the narrator for this reboot, the franchise's long history of using narration as a core storytelling device which many fans value, it seems likely that if a narrator does appear, it will be in a non-traditional form, such as intermittent voiceovers, character narration, or optional dubbed tracks. Okay, I've gone and read through it again, and I'm beginning to conclude that AI is predicting no. As it says right here, what we know, an early comment from someone tied to the production implied no narrator. But then right below it then says there's been no official announcement from Mattel. But right above it, it's saying that someone tied to the production implies no. From what I'm reading here, most of me is getting at that it's a no, so I'm going to conclude that AI is predicting no, there will be no narrator in the new show. Oh god, brace yourselves everyone, these are going to look awful. My personal prediction for what I think they will look like, I would say it'd be a mix of the season 19 and... Oh! No way! What the hell? Honestly, what the Oh man, I'm speechless. Hang on, did I even type the question correctly? Generate pictures of what you predict Thomas and some other characters will look like in the Thomas the Tank Engine 2026 TV series. I am absolutely baffled by this. So you've got Thomas, Percy, James, and I'm pretty sure that's Carla. AI is predicting that Carla is going to stick somewhat similar to the concept of what she is in All Engines Go, where she is a rail vehicle, not just a crane. A bit like with what Harvey is. James, no, separate coal tender. It's as if it's boxed together to look like a tank engine. Oh man. And then you've got Percy that looks I don't even know what to describe this. And then here is the ultimate one, Thomas. Oh my god, where do I start? These look absolutely horrible. But also so bad that they are just hilarious. These are absolutely nothing like what I would have predicted. Do you want to know what I think the characters will look like in the 2026 show? I'd think it'll be a mix of the animation style from seasons 19 to 21. You know, with all the shiny metal on the engines, how it all looks so clean and gleaming in rainy shots, and cartoony looking eyes from All Engines Go. I think it'll be a mix of those two. Some of the designs on the characters as well may be a bit different, you know, like in terms of their shapes, whether if they're a bit wider or thinner or longer. That's what I predict. These are just hilarious but also awful. These are giving me Chuggington vibes. But yeah, I thought I'd save this one till last, and I'm confident that I did the right thing here, as I had a feeling I'd be having a few knee-slapping laughs and a load of chuckles and giggles out of me. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for future videos. Oh, and don't forget to click on that notification bell. Adios.